Fill your thirst beside the river. Wash the journey from your hands. Feel the comfort flow inside you. Come this far, you understand.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome to Healing Outside the Box. My name is Rosemary Lachance, and I'm an energy healer and a spiritual teacher.
Hi, and I'm Dina Scungio, and I'm a student of spirituality.
Tonight we are continuing our Life Explained series, which will give you food for thought information about spirituality based on the teachings of Hans Wilhelm from his series. We will play two different DVDs and then have dialogue about it. We encourage you to call or email us or write to NHTV with your questions, and we will answer them on the show or privately if you prefer. This is not a religious show, and no matter what religion or belief you follow, the information we give you will only enhance your beliefs. We do not try to convince you of anything. This series is recorded and will be shown in your area at your local public service cable network. Please contact them for dates and times.
And if you have a group that you think would be interested in what we have to offer, we are available to come to your group and teach from this series. We will give you our contact information at the end of the show. And please visit Rosemary or Hans' website, where you'll find a wealth of information all about the show and this series. We are also on Facebook under Healing Outside the Box. Please like our page, and you can receive all the information that we post there. And we hope you enjoy the show.
Okay, this is show number 169, and it's from the Life Explained series, part 14. And the first DVD that we're going to show tonight is about family and what it's like on the other side of life and here. So as soon as the room gets set up, we will play the series, the control room. I couldn't think of the word control. Okay.
Hi, I'm Hans Wilhelm, and in this video in the Life Explained series, we will talk about our family and the dynamic within our family. Relationships, particularly the ones in families, can be very challenging. We may often wonder why there are certain members in our family and why they are so difficult, and we seem to have nothing in common with them, and we do anything to get out of their way. But as we will see in this video, there are no coincidences in life. This includes our family. Come, let's have a look. Our true reality is the spiritual reality, of course, where our true spiritual home is. It's a family, a circle of friends of similar soul vibration. And when we decide to incarnate again as a human being into this world, we often arrange with some members of this group to incarnate with us and share the experience here on earth. The reason why they are willing to join us can be mostly for their own karmic reasons, and to accelerate their growth, or simply to support us here during that time. And they may adopt the role of to be our future mother, father, sister, close friends, or even our own kids. It is usually not the first time that we incarnate together. In previous lifetimes, they have also been with us, but in different roles and gender. So when we arrive here on earth, several of them are already here to receive us. So let us draw our future mommy and our daddy, and there are the grandparents and uncles and others and so on, and here is the little baby carriage. Now, we know from the law of attraction that likes attracts likes, and therefore our soul can only be attracted to an expecting mother of similar soul vibration, which means they must have the same or similar character traits and beliefs and behavior programs. So our mother, and to a lesser degree our father, are very similar to us. And so it's most likely the rest of the whole family, since families also have a group family vibration that has to correspond with ours. So the first lesson here is anything that we don't like in our mother and our father is also in us. Otherwise, we could not have been attracted to them. It's important to remember. And here we are, as a little baby. There we are. Now, in other words, our first teachers in life is always our immediate family. Basically, we are all homeschooled. They are teaching us directly or indirectly by their examples. And much of it is good, but much of it is not so good. Like conditional love. We all know that conditional love. It goes like, Mommy will only love you if you eat your porridge, and Daddy will only love you if you clean your room, and so on. And we learn that being loved and accepted is conditional. And to get some of that love and acceptance and approval, we better follow other people's expectations. Later on, we may even continue playing the same game with our own new family and our own kids. But that's another story. Now, if we have never questioned the conditional love that we received as a young child, or understood that everything we dislike in another person is a trait in us, we may experience family gatherings as pure torture. Now, let's look at a typical Thanksgiving dinner that takes place here in America in many homes once a year. There we have the entire family, parents, siblings, grandparents, uncles, and maybe even our own kids and grandkids, all around the big table. They're all handpicked by us for our own growth and spiritual awakening. And this is us here. They are our choice characters. Oh, and here I forgot the most important character, of course, is the turkey. Here we have got the turkey, which of course, for the vegans among us, it's a tofu turkey. Now, the only reason why we may still find this event as pure torture is that we are still craving for their love, approval, and acceptance. But let me put it very directly. It is not their job to love us, or approve of us, or accept us even, for who we are. That is our job and our job alone. As the old saying goes, it is not important what others think of me, but what I think about myself. For as long as we crave for their love, approval, and acceptance, we are bound to them, dependent on them, and basically we are their slaves. And we never come into our full bloom until we now throw off those shackles. But part of growing up means loving ourselves. Not until we are able to love and accept and approve of ourselves are we able to love anybody else. Now this includes our own spouses and our own children. We always have to do first what we want others to do to us. Give them what we need. Like if we need support, we give them support first, and if we need nurturance, we nurture others first. Therefore, Thanksgiving is always a lesson in love. Any tension, animosity, or fight is simply an opportunity to love. There are, as A Course in Miracles calls it, cries for love. And any family member who pushes our button, like for instance this guy here, is somebody who reflects back to us our own beliefs, character traits, or programs that we have either overtly or repressed. And for more on this, please look at my video on the law of projection. Therefore, any member who gives us a hard time is also our teacher, our savior. We give him a halo. And our main reason why we are at this particular dinner table and at any other family gathering is to love and accept and approve everybody else present. Everybody wants to be loved just like us. But we have to do it first. Now, that may be difficult for some who hold grudges against certain family members for a very long time. Like shame and guilt binds us to these family members. Like for instance, let's take this guy here. This is sort of a bad guy, the black sheep in the family, and he just gives us really the willies. He really makes us upset. But only forgiveness can dissolve these ties, and forgiveness is a very big subject. And I invite you to watch the special video on the subject if you're interested. Because if we do not forgive, chances are we will be doing the same thing to another person sooner or later. Let me say this again because it is very important. Because if we don't forgive, chances are we will be doing the same thing to another person sooner or later. We are not here to heal that person, but we are here to heal the problem we have with that person. They don't need our healing. We need the healing and replace the toxic energy with positive energies in us. And when we are in our love center, we accept everything people do or say as part of their journey. And we know that if they are consciously on the path, they will similarly accept our own moment-to-moment stuff, for this is what helps them to grow too. And if they are not consciously on the path and become angry, that is their problem. We can still love them, even with their anger. Now, summing up, I like to repeat that our family, irrespective if they are birth family or adopted, is a cast of characters that we have consciously selected for our growth and awakening here on earth. It is the perfect family for us. Give them thanks for being here for us. Everyone is on their own path, with their own understanding and growth, and they all have their own inner guidance. We are here to bring them love, support, and encouragement. But it would be wrong to feel sorry for any of them or put them down. Now, Byron Katie once suggested to make our next Thanksgiving or any other family gathering a BYOLAA. Bring your own love, approval, and appreciation, and you will be fine.
Well, that was pretty heavy. Easier said than done.
Much easier said than done. I realize that we show a lot of these videos and we tell people what they should be doing and how they should be feeling and how they should be acting, but we don't really give anyone the tools to get there.
Yes,
and that's
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
I mean, when you're talking about family and you know, how you don't need their love and acceptance and all that. Well, all humans are born that way. Humans are born craving love and acceptance and approval. And I mean, how do you teach children from a very young age that it's not, you know, that, I mean, that's what humans are all about. Love, approval, acceptance. You know, some don't always need everybody's approval. They're pretty strong characters and they can move on without caring about that, but most people need it. I mean, that's what you know, it seems like life is all about. So how do you train or teach, I should say teach, not train, how do you teach people to not, you know, be upset about things like that?
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll have to ask Hans some of that. I put it down as a question to ask him next time he's on the show. And I didn't do the forgiveness because I had questions myself that I wanted to ask Hans about, so we'll do that when he's on the show. But the only thing is, since I was a kid, I always remember that they used the reward and punishment method. If you're good and you do the things they want you to do, you get a reward, you'll get food. Lots of times it's food for Italians, or maybe a little present, a coloring book or something like that. And if not, you go to your room and you can't go outside and you can't play. So that's the reward and the punishment thing, which, I don't know. I don't think that was very good now that I look back over it, you know, because I used it too, because it's reinforcing what he said, that approval. You want that approval, so you're going to do something good so that you'll get that approval and that acceptance. What I used to tell you, I don't know if you remember this or not, but I used to tell you kids that when I'd say you did something good and I say, oh, that's wonderful, you know, I love you, you did something really good, but I should say to you, but I love you even if you didn't do that. Do you remember me telling you that, guys? I used to say that to you, you know, all the time. But I'm proud of you.
Not specifically.
But and I love you and I'm proud of you, but I don't love you just because you did this. I love you no matter what. I'm proud, but I'm proud of you anyway. No matter what you do, I'm proud. See, the words, the words saying, I'm proud. Well, a child might say, well, is she still proud of me if I didn't do that? You know, so I used to think that all the time. So I used to grow up with the thought. I grew up with the thought that I had to always accomplish something to be loved. Okay, and my parents were, you know, very, very strict, very, very strict. And I was the only child, so very, very strict. And I said when I had children, I wouldn't do that. That's what I stopped. I stopped it right there. But my mother was only doing what her mother did to her. And I'm sure she was doing what her mother did to her. But when it came to me, I said, no. That's not the way to do it. It's got to change. And that's what I did with you children.
But I still strove for your approval in a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So
I know, because I don't know.
I mean, I remember you telling me a lot that if you do something, you do it because it comes from your heart. You don't do it because you care what everybody else thinks. You do it because it's something that you have in you that you want to express, or that, you know, but still, I always remember feeling like, even though, you know, I really enjoyed playing the violin, you guys didn't care for it. And they used to make fun of me a lot. Yes, they did. Even when I was screeching those strings, they made lots of fun of me. I haven't forgotten that. And she's old, in a nursing home, and she can't talk or speak. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play the violin by her bedside.
Oh, my God.
No, but I remember, you know, I mean, always trying to make you proud. I mean, I remember one time when you guys couldn't come to one of my concerts for some reason at the school, and I don't even remember why, but I remember feeling hurt beyond words that you weren't there to see it. And I don't even know why, but it was that whole approval, wanting you to see me, be proud of me, the whole thing. I mean, I don't see where you can teach people to not need that. I think it's a basic human emotion, you know. I mean, even people who are superstars are out there. They crave approval. I mean, of course, there's a lot of people out there who beat them up and tear them apart, and they'll always be haters. You just can't avoid it for whatever reason. Either they just don't care for you, or they're jealous of what you have, or not what you own, but what your ability is. And they realize they don't have that, or they think they don't have it, or they'll never get there, but maybe they haven't tried hard enough, you know.
Well, it's that worship thing. We people in this world, we worship people, and we make them toe the line, and we watch their every move. And if they do something wrong, it doesn't matter how much good they do. When they do something wrong, that wipes it out, and we get on their case. Remember that thing I taught you? What was it? Mark Antony said. Back then, in those days, he said, "Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ear. The good people do is soon forgotten, but the evil lingers on." And isn't that the truth?
Oh, absolutely.
With this whole world. So that's what happens with these people. You know, even if we have someone, like everybody says, we need a savior in this world to save us from our sins and from our... We already had one, okay? And we're not
listening. Look what we did to him.
Yeah, look what we did to him. And that's what we do with everyone. We worship them, and then we kill them, and then if they're dead, we worship them again. I mean, that's messed up. But we are all messed up. I know. There has to be a way with your children that you can talk to them when they do something wrong. Try to make them understand what was wrong about what they did. Now, when we're older, we can tell this to parents who are watching this who have young children to do it like that. But
sometimes I don't think things are exactly wrong. I think they're just socially unacceptable.
Yeah.
And I think that's more of the problem, is that people are worried about how things are going to look to everybody else.
More now than ever.
Yeah.
More now than ever.
And it's not so much what a kid does wrong. It's like, oh, God, what is my neighbor going to think? Or what is this one going to think if I let them do that? Or what's that one going to think? You know, that's why in the old days when someone was gay, the families, especially the Italian families, they used to try to hide it. Hide it. Don't let anyone know. And I know, because I grew up Italian, it was a big thing that, you know, oh, you'll grow out of that, you know, not... you'll change your mind. It's just a phase.
Yeah.
I love that. It's just
that's
a
right.
phase.
You're right about that. It's just a phase. That's what everyone said.
Yeah.
In those days, a lot of things were kept in the shadows.
Yeah, because it was socially unacceptable.
When I was a young teenage girl, we couldn't sit at the bar and drink. Okay? Women were not allowed at the bar.
Really?
Yeah. I know. Doesn't that grab you? We weren't allowed.
Nobody's going to tell
And
me I
before
can't sit
that,
at the bar.
I think before I was born, the women couldn't vote or anything like that.
Yeah, oh, I know that.
And men were everything, you know. And then little by little, women's rights came around. Then they probably went too far, but I think we leveled off now, you know. But and so anything that we don't understand, we fear. And so we didn't understand gayness. You brought that up. And, of course, in the Bible, which was written by these same people who feared, and people believed the Bible because they were taught to believe every little word in it, and so they just went by that. Well, that says it's no good, so it can't be good. So we're gonna punish these people. We're gonna torment them. We're gonna do everything we can. And see, that's a wrong. That's a wrong right there.
I don't see where in the Bible it said that you are to punish and torment people who aren't.
No,
like
it doesn't
you.
say. No, I said we do that. We punish and torment them.
So where do they get off thinking that's okay?
There's certain things in the Bible that says no, but there were certain things in the Bible, I think that was written that something about a man should not lay with another man, or woman with another woman. They should.
But
whatever.
where in there does
But
it
then,
say you should torture or kill them
No,
for
no.
it?
I'm saying that we.
I know, but where in the Bible does it say that you should torture or
It
kill a
doesn't.
person? So then why do people do it?
I don't know. That's
It
the way
doesn't
people
say
are.
it in the Bible.
No, but that's the way people are, because he said it's a wrong thing. It's wrong that we did it, that these people are doing it. So I mean, we don't torture and kill them. I don't know what they did in the old days. They
there's
might have
still some towns
and make their
and-
life miserable.
and states that people are a little backwards thinking.
Yeah, but you see, in those days, I remember a case where there was a singer called Anita Bryant, and she was really against gay people. And
She was? Oh, I
yeah,
didn't know that.
she went out and she talked against something terrible, and she even quoted the passage about where God had supposedly said that it was no good, that wasn't right to be gay. But she didn't quote it all, because I went and I looked up the passage, because she had given the chapter and the verse, and as I read on, it said, these are things that are not done, but it says, you leave that to God and do not judge anyone. Just love your brothers and sisters and leave it to God.
That's why I'm saying.
But nobody ever read that far,
Yeah.
or they didn't want to read it, or if they found it, they left it alone. And I mentioned it. I think I wrote in or something like that. Well, she kind of really died out after a while.
Oh, yeah.
You know? So it's the judging. You know, it's the judging. Since we're born, everything is judging.
Do you remember what book it's from, or?
No, I don't.
We'll have to find out.
Yeah, maybe we could find out. We'll look it up somehow.
Anyway, we're digressing a little bit, but
Yeah.
getting back into the family thing, a family unit. I remember. I don't know if it was you or Hans who said before, a family unit pretty much stays together.
Mm-hmm.
But like, say in a situation like, say, my dad, like and there's many situations like that out there where he left and really wasn't much of a part of the family unit. Was he a part of the family unit that came with us all in heaven, or do you think he came from do we interchange with other family units?
Yeah, we do. We usually, our immediate family, our blood, okay, our people who carry our blood, we are incarnate with them all the time, because on the other side of life, when we all get back home to heaven, they're there. They're a part of our family over there too. Other people come into the family to learn something that they couldn't learn with their own family they incarnated with, so they have to go to another family and learn something for that particular incarnation. Okay? That's how it happens. But we don't know. Sometimes one of our family will go somewhere else, and we haven't met them yet in this particular incarnation. We don't really know who's doing that and who isn't doing that. There's some really psychic people who could tell that, but it doesn't really matter, because we're all here learning whether we're related or not. But that's why we come with the same people and we change our positions.
Now, when he said that the mother usually has a like-minded, or is usually very like-minded with the baby coming through, but the father is to a lesser degree. Is there
Right.
a reason the father is to a lesser degree?
Well, because the mother carries the baby, and everything in this whole world when God created it is a like attracts like. That's the biggest law there is. Like attracts like, which means good attracts good and bad attracts bad too. Evil attracts evil, things like that. And I was thinking of something else on my mind. My mind went away. I was thinking about something on Facebook that was on there today about weapons and things like that, which attract negativity, you know. So here it is. When the child is ready to come in, when the soul, the being, is ready to be born, he has to have the same vibrations as the mother, because it's going to go into the mother's body. Even though the father had to play his part, it's going to be in the mother's body. So it's a like attracts like. So, like I told you, it doesn't necessarily mean that, it means you're like them when you come into the world. Now, if they have bad traits, and you have the same bad traits, and remember I told you before, once you clear up yours, they won't aggravate you anymore. It's like Hans said, work on yourself. Don't blame them, and don't whatever. Because when I was first, remember I think I told you, when I was first told I was like my mother, I revolted against that. Oh, there's no way, But then I started realizing, I had things I had to change. And then I never got aggravated at her anymore. It was like magic,
Well, what I was thinking about was when I first watched the video, was that my dad left when I was around 2 years old, and really wasn't much of a part of my life.
No, he didn't know how to be a father.
And what I was thinking was that maybe he decided to come into our family unit to learn something, and then maybe discovered it was too difficult to learn and went back the other way towards...
Could be.
Because he's not around.
Could be, yeah.
Whatever he needed, whatever he decided to come with us and learn, maybe it was just too hard or too difficult, or he went away. And
well, he didn't have any other children.
He's going to not learn anything now.
He's
definitely not learning anything now.
He wasn't a good father. He didn't know how to be a father. He had a very poor parenting, with a very strict, unloving father and an alcoholic mother. All right, and I had the same thing in mine. Same thing. Alcoholic mother, strict, unloving father. So we attracted to each other, like attracts like. But he didn't, you're right, I think he wasn't able to continue with this, didn't learn how to be a father himself, and went on his way and lived the rest of his life without any more children to love or to learn this lesson, and not doing much with you and your brother. So I'm sure he'll probably have to come back one day in another lifetime,
I would think,
and do it again.
Because he's really self-subservient. He's not. He's all about himself, and that's it.
Yeah. That saying, those who do not learn from the past are doomed to repeat it?
Yeah.
Well, that goes for incarnation, too. Goes to this lifetime and other lifetimes.
And now it also says in there that you get reincarnated with close friends as well. Like certain people who are your close friends, they'll reincarnate around the same time you do? They're
probably part of your spiritual family. If they're in your life for your whole lifetime, they're usually into your spiritual family. Not necessarily. There's an exception, because if he couldn't learn, or he didn't want to learn what he was supposed to learn with you, they'll find someone else and go their way and do their thing, not having accomplished their mission.
Close friends?
Yeah, some close friends.
Because I know some friends you're closer with than others that you really chime with.
Yeah.
But there are also some of those friends where you actually have some kind of a dream about, where you feel like like I'm close with this one person who's actually above me at work, and higher level of employment, and had some deep dream about a certain thing that was wrong with him and his family unit, and come to find out there was some deep things going on that he really couldn't talk about. So I'm wondering, when you have these interactions with certain people, or they sort of in your group, and you all kind of came back together because you kind of have the like-minded.
Yeah, there's a saying. I can't remember the whole quote on the family, but some people come into your life to stay. That they're not in your family. Some people come into your life to stay for a certain amount of time, and they leave. And some people just come in and out. I met a girl once in Germany who came into my life, and she really loved me. And I was like amazed, and I needed that then, and I was amazed at how much, she loved me as a friend and a person. And it was just so great. But I knew when I left Germany, I was only there for a couple of weeks, that I would never see her again, and I never have ever heard from her. So she just came into my life to show me that anybody can love you. Doesn't have to be family, could be a stranger. Anytime, love is love. We place more emphasis. We go to bed and we pray for the ones that we love. Pray for our children, pray for our relatives, right? But we don't pray for the whole world. But all those people in the whole world are still our brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
But we don't know that yet.
So
we're still babies in what we're learning, and we seem to be going farther away from it, especially nowadays. That's why things are going to change one day.
Well, I've been thinking a lot about the whole Nostradamus thing lately and how he predicted the World War III as a holy war. And it's starting to look that way.
Yeah, it is.
We're trying not to breed ignorance and not to breed hate and fear and all that because that's what they want. But, and I've had some friends say to me, you can't give in to the fear. That's what they want. They want you to be afraid.
They do.
And no, I don't want to give in to the fear. But also, things are happening more often now. The shootings, the mass shootings, and most of those people, they attack areas where they know they won't be fought back until the law arrives. So they do their most massive killings. And I just think sometimes maybe being better prepared is the answer. I don't know.
Well, you know, sometimes
that's a whole different discussion,
yeah,
and doesn't really have anything to do with what we're talking about now. But
well, family. They're our family. When God made the world for us to stay until we learned our lessons so we could go home, He didn't mean for us to put up borders and say, this is my country, this is your country, that's your country. We have no borders, we have no this, we have no that.
No, all these different religions.
There was supposed to be all these religions. See, what's lacking in everything and what we've inched out more and more and more is God and Christ. We've inched Him out of everything. Even the Pledge of Allegiance, inched Him out. All right? So without God, without having a conscience, without fear of reprisals or anything like that, people just going to get worse and worse and worse, and that's what they're doing. The love from one another. But now here's another thing too. We don't hear the good news.
The media's killer.
Yeah, once in a while there'll be a video that goes viral with somebody helping someone. But how often is that? Not very often. But the bad news goes on and on because it's news, and the news people want to hear it, and we are controlled by our fears. That's how you want to control somebody? Fear.
Well,
Fear.
I think that the news people play on drama.
Yeah.
Drama, drama, drama. If there's no drama, there's no news.
Right.
And sometimes when it's boring here in our Connecticut, they go to, next thing you know, you'll see a newscast with all the bad news from all the other states because they have really nothing bad to report on here.
Right. You're very true. That was a good point.
So, yeah.
You're right.
They start looking everywhere else for all the crappy drama news they can talk about.
Exactly. It's all about awards and being the best station, the best reporting. We're not going to get a reward by reporting that John was so good to his family. He took them out and he helped his neighbor, and his neighbor fell down. And he took him to the hospital.
Yeah.
Not going to get any awards for that.
No.
So
every once in a while you hear about it, but not often. One last question on the family thing, so I know we have to move on to the next video. But when he was talking about the certain person in the group that irks you to no end, and that you have to forgive them, and that as long as it took me to understand that being angry with someone doesn't help, the only thing that helps is loving them and praying for them, and as long as it took me to realize that, and it's still a hard one to swallow at times, if you do find a way to forgive this person who irks the heck out of you, but they still don't change, do you just does forgiving them get you past what it is that bothers you about them, and they just don't bother you?
Right.
I mean, they could still be annoying. I mean, if someone's sticking you with a pencil in your shoulder, even if you say it's okay, you could stick me, it still hurts.
No. You know what you say? You say, this is not acceptable behavior. I love you, but it's not acceptable behavior.
Okay.
I love you, but I do not love what you're doing. Okay? That kind of thing.
Okay.
And the best thing to do, remember I told you about the log, and somebody's got a fire growing, and when you go back at them and start arguing with them about them, you're putting more logs on that fire, and the fire is getting bigger and bigger. That's what it is. But if you pray for them and say, I don't know how to get through to them, I don't know what to do, I'm aggravated, I'm angry, and I don't want to be like this, things like that I know you do, and that helps them more than anything. And then after a while, like with my mother, after a while, it doesn't aggravate. They don't aggravate you anymore. You can just look at them and say, well, if something happens, you try to talk to them, but you don't have to argue or anything else. You just, well, maybe you shouldn't have done that, but whatever. It's your, it's what you want to do, but from love. You have to come from love, because a person can tell when you're coming from aggravation. A person can tell when you're angry at them and like that. So, and usually there's going to be someone stuck in your family that's like this. We had him in our family. I remember my relatives sitting around when I went to bed, sitting around the table, talking about someone, one of my uncles who I loved dearly. He was a black sheep, and I adored him. I adored him. So, you know, to each his own. What's not nice to someone else is nice.
Yeah.
Because you don't have that thing going between you. We're able to overcome those faults and everything. And I wasn't like him, but I just loved him. Go figure, you know? So, family is a blessing. There's nothing like family. And we're all here to help one another. And hopefully, not everybody realizes the importance of family.
No, and I've tried to get close with some people and tried to be a family with them. And sometimes people just don't want to let you in. And as hard as that is to swallow, you have to move on. You know, as much as it kills me that I couldn't be family with certain people, I found new people to be family with, and you know that not having a family, not being able to have children, it makes a world of difference.
See, we're not supposed to have special people in our life.
No, but I love people too much sometimes, and I don't think people can grasp that.
No,
they have a real hard time grasping that, and I don't know how else to be.
Well, if you love them too much, that means you're needy for the love.
No, but I mean, I just love people deeply. I mean, I don't think people love people that way. I don't mean love them. I mean, they think I love them too much, but that's just how I am. That's the kind of person I am. I just love people.
Yeah.
I love them, and some people don't know how to accept that or handle it.
I know what you're saying. They don't know how to accept love, period.
Right.
I know.
So they back away, or they do whatever they do, and, you know, some people you can't keep company with. That's all. Unfortunately.
No, not everyone that came to your life is meant to stay.
Yeah.
The time to let go, you have to know when to let go.
Yeah.
You know, there's no sense pushing what's not working, you know. So, well, anyway, all right, then we'll get on to the second video, which is about mourning and grieving. Mourning. Sounds like morning. As soon as the control room gets it up, we'll listen to that one.
You have to change that.
Hi, I am Hans Wilhelm, and in this video in the Life Explained series I would like to talk about the spiritual aspects of mourning or grief. They are our common reactions to the loss of a loved one through death. For many of us this can be a devastating and sad moment, and we need time to heal and readjust. Let's look at the spiritual side. As discussed in my video on death and dying, the process that we call death is the separation of the soul from its earthly garment, the physical body. The time of death and the way of death are no accidents. They both are of the soul's own choosing. The person, when he or she was alive, may not be aware of this, but the soul knows when the time and place was right. Everybody's death is a perfectly timed event, and there are no mistakes. So, if we now deeply feel that the person should not have died, and we are mourning here, if we feel that way, that they should not have died, we are not only interfering with God's business, but also disregard the free will of the soul that has now made its transition. One thing we have to understand right away: the person who we love has not really died, because there is no such thing like death. The soul of the person is eternal and very much alive. In many cases, even more alive and joyful than it was in the physical body before. It's so excited and now ready for the new adventure, returning back to the light. So strictly speaking, it's the time of celebration instead of time of mourning. This is what the early Christians have done when one of them left their earthly body. They celebrated. But it is understandable that we grieve or mourn because we are acting from a limited awareness. Most of us have no idea of what is actually happening to the soul and to us. Furthermore, our culture expects us to act devastated and full of grief, and even wear black as an outward sign of our sorrow. I'm not saying we should not be sad during the time of loss, if that is what we're feeling, because we must always honor our feeling. But we must also honor the soul of the beloved one. We must allow the soul to go its path and its new adventure. The soul deeply feels our sorrow and grief and pain and suffers with us. It desperately wants to help and comfort us in our confusion and devastation. For the soul, it is a time of freedom and joy, but excessive long grieving by relatives can bind the soul, not only to the mourners, but also to the earth sphere for a very long time. Let's face it, many mourners who want to hold on to him as they consider, because they consider him their property. In truth, they're actually only thinking about themselves and do not help the soul of the one they declare they love so dearly. This reminds me of a time when I lived in Africa, and I had a dear friend from Germany. She was there only for a couple of years, but she was the only child, and her parents had a terrible time of letting her go. They continuously wrote her how lonely they were without her, and how could she have done this to them. And I remember how painful it was for her to read their letters and get their phone calls. Her parents were not thinking of her, but only of themselves. And that is exactly how the departed soul will feel when we cannot let go. Now let's be honest, we are only mourning for ourselves. It is all about us. We feel left behind, and we may feel lonely and may be afraid to continue living without that person. And it is okay to give ourselves a period of very natural grief or readjustment that I call healing. But we have to face our emptiness, and don't fill our emptiness with pain. Instead, let us become aware and appreciate the love that is still in us. We can now channel this love into new directions and new creations, and particularly to new people, other people. Death is also a new beginning and opportunity for us to express our love and become who we are meant to be. But some of us find it very, very difficult to let go and move on. Let's look at the underlying true reason for excessive grieving and mourning. It is always undeclared love. The pioneer in death and dying research, Dr. Elizabeth Kübler-Ross, has written about this extensively. The person who experiences deep and prolonged grief believes that he or she has not verbally said, "I love you," to the person who has died. And now they feel deep remorse about this omission, because they believe it's too late to tell them now. And of course it never is. The soul can hear and feel all our thoughts, and the soul knows about the love that the person has. So it is never too late to say these words, even if this soul is no longer in the physical body. In my children's book, I Will Always Love You, I've written about this how important it is to say, "I love you," not only to our pets, but to everybody in our life. Not just thinking it, but actually saying it. It is the only cure against excessive mourning and grieving. Once we let go and see the true picture of what have actually happened, we will understand that the love that we have for that person who made the transitions always will be. It will connect us forever, but not in a binding and confining fashion, but as a sign of total freedom. And then we can join the celebration and rejoice with the soul that is now ready for its new adventure. We wish the soul well because we know that most likely in a short while we will be reunited again. So let us send loving thoughts to the departed soul and also to ourselves.
Okay. There's one thing I wanted to say right now is everything that I've read, and the biggest thing that I've read, says that the souls, our loved ones, that when they pass over, they're around us. They can hear us, but we need to speak out loud. They cannot read our thoughts. The only ones who can read our thoughts are our angels and our guides. and the high spirits. They can't read our thoughts, but that's why it's important to say it out loud. Once in a while, say out loud, I love you, MD, something like that. It's true. And he's right about the undeclared love, because you had an experience with your grandmother, and I had the experience with my son.
Yeah.
And that's why, if you notice, no matter if you and I have an argument or something goes wrong, I always end up with us saying I love you, if we're typing or texting or whatever, or on the phone, because I don't ever want anything to happen that you didn't hear my last words were that I love you. That's why they say don't go to bed mad. Always say you love someone when you send them off in the car. I love you, bye. Always, and they take that love with them. But like he said, if it doesn't happen, you can say it anyway, because they're there. I always say when I go to a wake, I know the soul is around there somewhere, and I always tell them, and I wish them luck on their new journey. What happens is if we keep mourning them, they're going to stay by us because they want to comfort us in some way. Like that movie, What Dreams May Come. But the soul has to go on to its journey and do its thing. And then every once in a while it will come to visit with us. And that's when you'll feel them, and they'll think about them all of a sudden for no reason. And you'll feel them because they have come to visit. But they need to get on with what they're going to do. All right? But they can hear us. When we feel them around, they pop into our heads. That's the time to say, I love you. I know you're around, and I love you, and I want you to know that. Whatever happened, doesn't matter, I love you. That's the time to do it. And then let them go. And then when we pass over, we will see them again. See, that's the problem. People don't believe that.
Well, here and again is what I'm saying. You tell people that this is what's happening, but you don't teach them how to do that. You don't give them the knowledge that... we don't teach our children that, this is what happens when somebody dies.
Well, I taught you.
And also, yeah, but still, I remember when I was 10 years old when Grampy died, Grandpa Poppy, and I remember you telling me that, Grandpa died and you won't be able to see him again, but be happy because he's moving on to a new journey, and, he's at peace, and he's not suffering anymore because he had a massive stroke.
Yeah,
and,
heart attack, yeah.
But I was 10 years old, so I was like, oh, well, okay. All right, bye, Grampy. Good luck. But I never grieved.
Well, that's okay.
I never grieved. And then I remember when I was like 16 years old, I realized that I miss my grandpa, and I never got to grieve, and I ended up crying for a couple of days because I never grieved the loss.
Well, that's okay, because you never held him back, and then when you did cry, I'm sure he saw you, and he thought, oh, my poor baby, because he loved you more than anything.
Well, that's why I got to see him after he died.
Yeah, that's why you got to see. You went on a spirit journey, and you went to see him.
Yeah.
So it's okay. We're never parted from them, and people, if they want to find out, if they're not satisfied with what they're taught by their religion, okay, then go out and find something to satisfy you. Go out and satisfy your curiosity. Find something that makes you feel good inside, something that you can understand. Don't be held back by religious teachings. All right? That's why this is not a religious show. Just go out and find out. The truth is out there. It's out there if you want it, to look for it. Take the time.
You're not bound by anything. I mean, in this country, you're not bound. Other countries, people are killed for not believing. And,
I know.
But in this country, we're fortunate enough to be free, to not be bound by anything. There's a wealth of information out there. It's hard to always understand, which is right. But it's like we've always said, whatever feels the best to you, that feels good in your heart and soul.
Yeah.
That's where you should live. That's where
right.
you should sit.
That's what you should do. You have to feel really sorry for these countries where they force religious beliefs on them.
No, I know.
And so much so that they're willing to blow themselves up and kill themselves and do all this in the name of religion because they think they're going to get a reward. I mean, how sad is that?
I know.
Oh.
I know. And I recently saw a video on Facebook, which I know you shouldn't believe everything on the internet, but it was a Muslim, I think a Muslim teacher or something like that, and he was talking about Sharia law and how women weren't allowed to be seen in public. They had to be covered. Only their eyes could be seen.
Yeah.
And they had to be covered at all times, and I thought, oh no. In the summertime, I can't wear the least amount of clothes. And
I know.
You know,
but
there's
these
no
people
way
are forced
that
to
I
do
could
this.
ever. I know.
So be
know.
thankful that we have that religious freedom here in the United States. So nothing should
feel
stop
bad
people
about
from
that.
doing that, right?
But I think that the worst part of the mourning is the loneliness. You know, nobody understands. I don't think understand is the right word. Nobody knows how to handle their grief and their loneliness and despair when someone close to them is gone. I mean, you know, losing my brother was, it sent me into a whirlwind. And even with all the knowledge that I had, losing him was detrimental.
I know.
You know, detrimental. And I started acting stupid and doing stupid things and ended up having an accident, almost losing my leg, until that made me sit down, you know, put me out of commission for 2 months, and I had to think about everything I was doing, and I actually welcomed it. And I was grateful for the accident and grateful I didn't lose my leg, but it made me sit down and think about what I was doing, you know, so.
Even with all that I knew at the time of your brother's passing, you know, I grieved for 4 years.
Oh, I know.
Until I could snap out of it. And I had the knowledge. But you're right, you missed the presence. I missed his presence. I missed talking to him, joking with him, hugging him, on and on. And that's what grieving is all about, is missing their presence. But if we really know and understand,
teach anyone not to do that.
what saves me is that I know I'll see him again.
Right.
I truly believe it with all my heart and soul, and I believe my if I didn't have those teachings, I don't know what I would do. That's why I wish other people could get that help, and I'm here to help anybody who needs the help. I am here. They just have to get a hold of me.
But even with all of our knowledge and teachings and stuff, it's still
hard.
It's very difficult. You can't,
is.
you know.
Like he said, it's our loss. That's where mourning.
Would you try not to hold on to this spirit so they can move on and do their thing? But how, you know, it's a deep human emotion. I mean, and I can never talk about this without crying, but even when my dogs died, I carried the guilt of putting them to sleep, even though I knew it was the best thing for them.
Yeah,
I made the decision to let them go, and it killed me.
Sure did.
Because you know, I don't have to tell a doctor, mom's, you know, she's not doing well, let's put her to sleep. I don't have to do that. It's not my decision to make, but when it comes to the animals, it's my decision to make, and that's a terrible decision to make.
I know.
Even though it's a good decision at the same time, so that they're not suffering, it kills you. And I've had many friends who've, you know, suffered terribly for doing that. And I remember when Tashi died, for 4 months I grieved. I cried to work, and I cried home, and I cried constantly, and I begged God. I said, listen, you've got to let me see her. I cannot move forward without seeing her. It's hard to talk about without crying, but then I had that dream, and she came to me, and she let me hug her, and she licked my face, saying, it's okay. You don't have to feel bad about putting me to sleep. I'm free. And she showed me how she ran around the yard, and that was only then that I could move on. Only then. And the same thing with Sammy when he passed.
Then that's
same thing.
What we have to pray for. We have pray for everything. When we're having that kind of a problem, that difficult, just pray to God. Send me something to help me get through this. I need to get through this. And if it's an animal, send them to me. I know my animals have come to visit me too, and
they both came back.
It's their physical presence that we miss and want to hug them and hold them and see them. So if we pray hard enough, see, that's the problem. People don't have enough faith these days. You don't have enough faith, and I don't know how to tell you that you have to just let it go and give it over to God. I want to be the best I can be, but I need help. I don't want to be mad at this person, but I need help. I'm grieving so much over my child. A parent losing a child is like the worst thing that could ever happen. I don't want to miss losing my parent. If you had a good parent and you want to, my animals, whatever, pray. You prayed and God helped you. Pray.
Well, that's the one thing that's a constant throughout all the scripture and the Bible, everything. Even if everyone says, well, the Bible was written by man, blah, blah, blah. The one thing that's constantly stated over and over and over again is God saying, just ask me. Just ask me. I'm here. I'm your father. Ask me.
But don't say, I love you if you give me what I want.
No, well.
Or I believe in you if you give me what I want. Sometimes the answer is no. It's not good for you.
Right.
It's not good for you right now. It doesn't mean it won't be good for you later. Or maybe it'll never be good for you. But you got to trust that when you do it.
Right, ask and trust.
Yes.
I think trust and faith go hand in hand. I really do.
Just say, let me accept whatever you want from me.
And
but I put myself in your hands.
Right. I also think sometimes, I know we have a little, we don't have much time
we have
left,
5 minutes left.
I think sometimes the circumstances around when someone passes, when he was talking about, someone, you hold on to someone more because they've gone too soon. You think they've died too soon, that. Is there ever a circumstance where someone dies before they're supposed to?
No.
Never. No accident whatsoever.
No accident ever. There are times, the only thing I've heard and I've read about is there are times when someone is going down the wrong path. He's not, not learning what he's supposed to learn, but not only that, he's taking on too much karma. He somehow is just really going deeper and deeper down the wrong path. The life may be shortened. And sometimes when a person is really doing wonderfully and really getting it, has gotten it, then they may be taken, and because they worked it out.
I don't know it all. I don't know it all yet.
No, I didn't mean to say that.
I still have a lot to learn.
No, what I mean to what I mean to say is that sometimes a person does get it, and they're learning it, and their life can be extended. When it's like his time is supposed to be up at a certain time, they may have more years added to their life because they are understanding and they are getting it. Yeah, I didn't mean that. I said it the wrong way. No. Feel better now? Yeah. Nobody will want to get it right. But we think it's so wonderful here because we don't remember the other side.
Right.
Once we get over there, we go, this is what I was worried about. This is beautiful. I love it. But if you're a person who has been negative all their life and doing some really bad things, you're going to go to a place that's not so great until you learn. But there's no hell. Nobody's going to hell. There is no hell. Mm-mm.
I don't believe in hell. I think Earth is hell. It's what you make it. Earth can be your hell.
God is love. He wouldn't condemn us to a hell. He wouldn't. Hell is a form of control. People who teach hell do it to control. It's all control. We control through fear. Remember that. We control through fear. People control other people through fear.
But also, I think that it's a healthy fear at times because I think that people out there, if they didn't believe that something detrimental could happen, they would do a lot.
That's a different kind of fear.
Things.
That's a different kind of fear. Not that.
But there has to be a check and balance when you're teaching someone the right between.
Right. But teaching the different kinds of fear.
Between right and wrong.
Right.
There has to be a check and balance thing.
Right.
This is wrong, and this is what will happen. I mean, God's like a parent. He won't stop loving you. No matter what, but there's a point in time where you say this is wrong and you can't do this.
Right. You have to teach
and
the right fear.
And some people need to have a healthy understanding of that.
Yeah. Well, I'm afraid time is up. So we have to give our contact information. We've enjoyed this. I hope you've enjoyed it too. For more information about our show, contact me, Rosemary Lachance, at 203-627-7966. My email is whitebuffalo8@comcast.net. And please go on my website, www.rosemarylachance.com, where you'll find a wealth of information about all these things. And to reach Dina Scungio, her email is freewin1@comcast.net. And look for us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page under Healing Outside the Box. And you can look at our past guests. You can look at our past shows. You can watch some videos. You can leave a comment, whatever.
And we'll be adding a Twitter account soon.
Yes. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed the show as much as we did. We always seem to run out of time.
I know. We've only had a couple of shows on these 2 months with holidays, but starting in January, we'll be having 2 shows a month, so you'll be seeing more shows. And we'll have our dear friend Hans with us again. So good night, everybody, and God bless.
And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Have a wonderful Christmas and a Happy New Year.
A loving, loving Christmas.
We love you all.
Yep. Mwah.
Mwah. What's that show?
Feel your thirst beside the river. Wash the journey from your hands. Feel the comfort flow inside you. Come this far, you understand.